In a world where the truth isn't always what it seems, four masters of real estate step forward to help put the E first in the word true. TREU. Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. And now, here's the fantastic four of real estate with their host, Tom Platania.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another great edition of Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. I'm Tom Platania, your host, and we have, well, 3/4 of the Fantastic Four with us here this morning, but we're actually running just a little bit behind for Mr. Farouk Ali, but he'll be here. He actually spent some time up in vicious, beautiful New York right now, huh?
Yeah, better than me.
I love that stuff that you were posted on Facebook with the people were retweeting and stuff like that with the sand and the what was that?
Yeah, we're buried in sand here.
Yeah,
3 inches of sand. I saw a picture of him shoveling snow. It was laughing.
Oh, that is so funny. And yeah, here's our spring, our winter, our fall. And I retweeted to him. I said, I almost had to take off my tank top and put on my short sleeve shirt. It was 73 degrees. Brr.
Glad it was him, not us.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are here every Thursday morning on WSTU 1450 to help answer questions, and help educate you and have a little fun about buying, selling, investing in real estate, your home, your dream home, or maybe you're just looking to find that special investment. But we started this show because we found with the agents that are here with us, the realtors, they're some of the top realtors in South Florida, that there is a lot of information that is incorrect out there in the industry. There are a lot of consumers that walk into situations and they don't know, and all kinds of crazy stuff. And a lot of that right now is evident by all these foreclosures and short sales. I mean, what's happening with this right now? Are they going up? Are they going down?
Well, this is Carol, and the inventory right now is decreasing on the foreclosure side and on the short sales.
Right.
A lot of the investors and homeowners have purchased those foreclosures, and they're not such great deals today.
Wait a minute. Foreclosure. So I can't pay my bills, or I decide I don't want to pay the bill for the house, and there's different reasons. People lose their jobs, or they're so upside down, and they decide that they purposely decide they don't want to. Well, you think that the bank says, okay, well, the house appraises at $240, and the guy owes $310,000 on it. Don't you think that they would? My thought would be they would want to get rid of it, to unload it, put money back in their pocket as quickly as possible. No, that's not happening.
That's not happening.
That makes too much common sense, Tom. You know what I'm saying?
These are banks we're dealing with.
This
Run
is
by
Andrew,
politicians, right?
Yeah, definitely. This is Andrew Sesta. Yeah, you would think that that's the case, but unfortunately it's not. I've done a ton of short sales over the last couple of years, and it's amazing that these banks just they don't make any sense. You would think that that would be the case, where they just take the homeowner and modifications, and people tried modifications for a while, and they'd go through the process for 5, 6, 8 months, and just be turned down and end up in foreclosure. And then you'd see the house sell for even less than that they were willing to pay.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make any sense. But like Carol said, everyone was looking for the foreclosures and the short sales as being the great deals. And honestly, on the foreclosures, most of the time you're paying, above market price.
Right.
Really?
Oh, yes.
How can they get away with that?
Well, go ahead. Go ahead, Scott. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, the past week this is Scott speaking, I've been out showing actually customers that I've been working on for 3 months, and in 3 months I've seen the change in what's available in the foreclosures, and now we're finding that the quality of what you're getting, because a lot of the foreclosures, people stop taking care of their homes, and these are just in really bad shape.
If I'm not going to pay my mortgage,
as we were talking last week,
I'm going to lose it. I'm just going to let it go.
Right. You have these with the kitchens torn out and all that, and now what we're finding privately owned homes for sale that are in the same price range as the foreclosures, but in much better condition.
Correct.
So yeah, I mean, it
So
totally
why
is
would I
not-
want to buy a foreclosure?
There is no reason why.
Because of the perception that you're getting the deal. That's what a lot of people
so you
think
go
they're
into it with a
getting.
perception, and it ends
Right.
up being a nightmare.
Right.
Somebody was telling me, was it you, 15 months or
Oh.
18 months, or was
Yeah,
that?
15 months. I've had a couple that been trying to purchase a condo on Hutchinson Island. It was a short sale. They put it under contract 15 months ago, and we're still going back and forth with the bank. And now the problem is with the values gone up. The offer they put in 15 months ago is now being considered too low. Well, it wasn't at that time.
Yeah, and
So they kind of, the banks have figured out that they're going to kind of ride this out. It's in their best interest. Time is on their side, so they're not in a big hurry.
unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal. And I see, and I short sold my house. I got divorced, and I had a bunch of things happen. And luckily, and I used Keller Williams. I had a gentleman who was working named Bob Aubrey, who was working for Keller Williams at the time. Great guy. But it actually, for me, it went extremely smooth. But in order for me to get to that point, the bank actually told me that we don't care if your income was cut in half.
Right.
You need to miss like 3 or 4 months of your mortgage payment before we'll even look at you.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? So in order for me to get this rectified, I got to ruin my credit before you even take a look at me. Well, of course, they're not going to say yes to that question. Well, this is our policy. But the great thing is when I stepped in and Keller Williams and everybody took care of it. It was great because they had everybody in house. It actually went very smooth for me. And actually, the gentleman who was the team leader at the time, Julio, I mean, almost to the day, within a week or so, of what he said that it was going to close, it closed.
Right.
But there was no issues. I had already done so much ahead of time. But no.
And it also depends on the banks, Tom. A lot of the, we're using generalized statements. There are some banks out there, smaller banks that, have a lot less red tape, and you're actually dealing with the person that's making the decision. But most of the time, you're not. So there's a row of 10 people that you have to go through, and it's kind of like, you remember when we were kids and we played that, a whisper in your ear, and when it comes out the other end, it's different.
Right.
That's what ends up happening, and there's a lot of confusion that's during the process. But it's just, now it's just harder and harder to get them to work because of the fact that the prices are going up and the banks have realized that, time is on their side. I see foreclosures now that are priced over new construction.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
So that's got to hurt the market.
Yeah,
though,
and
right?
then I asked the listing agent, what's the thought process? And they turn to me and say, Andrew, I have no idea. My CMA said this, kind of like what you're saying, but, this bank told me to start here and we'll work our way down. So, that's what they're doing. So it's crazy. It's a real crazy market right now. And you just got to be careful not to be caught up in it. A lot of people get caught up in the frenzy of, kind of that auction thing where, testosterone has to win. I'm going to get it. And then, and then figure out when they win the bid and they do the inspection, they're like, what the heck did I just do?
Right. And so many of these homes today even have code violations on them. So in order to get a clear title, the code violations have to be cleared. That takes a lot of time. A lot of time and a lot of money.
Yeah, especially and if they've been ruined like that with ripping this stuff out, I can imagine the code violations and then what has to happen again for that to be, the permitting and inspection.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's like adding an extra room off the back that used to be a porch.
Yeah.
It's a code violation. Changing a garage into another bedroom. That's a code violation if you've not pulled permit.
Right. Well, you're listening to TREU Radio, TREU, Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. And we have our fantastic four of real estate here with us. We have Mr. Andrew Sesta, Sesta's and Associates. We have Carol Morgan. We have Mr. Scott McAllister. And the talented Mr. Farouk Ali, who is got his where's the snowballs that you promised us, Farouk?
Outside. I'm sure you
I
hope you got your long boots on.
He promised he was going to bring some snowballs back for us, and we told him to keep them in his pocket so that he could get through customs and everything.
Oh, is that why he's all wet? Or
Yeah, right.
or maybe you missed the restroom on the way in.
You still have your coat on.
Yeah, right. Well, if you'd like to call into the studio and you have any questions about foreclosures, short sales, or anything to do with the real estate market, these folks have, between the four of them, probably close to 100 years of experience, and I don't think you're going to find too many other people locally that have that kind of. Now, a little bit more if you combine their ages, but just there. Hey, give us a call here at the studio, 772-220-9788. That's 220-9788. And today we're kind of talking about foreclosure short sales, but we're going to have a special guest on the studio, special guest with us in the studio a few minutes later on, who is going to be talking to us. Well, if we have these foreclosures and short sales, and you talk about people wanting to get into these things as a great deal, and they end up first off paying more, but they think they're getting a great deal. Well, these things are destroyed.
Some of them.
So okay, now short sales, I'm probably going to get a little bit less typically than a foreclosure, right?
Typically, because in a short sale situation, the family is still living in there, but it kind of depends on how they've been treated and that kind of thing. But at one time there was programs where the bank was giving the seller some incentive, some monies to move on.
Right.
So they, and also, to keep the house in good condition.
Yeah,
so
I got $3,000.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, at the closing table.
I had one that got up to 15,000. Believe it or not.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I need to go back.
Yeah.
I had one that got up to 35,000.
No way.
Awesome, really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So that was a kind of good plan, because it gave, first of all, it helped, because some of these folks were caught up in some really bad situations, and you kind of felt bad. They really had nowhere to go. So it was nice that they had that money to transition into something new. And they also, not everybody trashed the house.
Yeah.
But I some of these foreclosures, people are so angry. They've ripped. I had one house that we did a home inspection on, that one of my investors bought, that someone actually flushed concrete down the pipe, the toilet, and seized up the pipes.
That's just
what I
that's
mean?
vindictive. That is just
It's all
vindictive.
vindictive,
Yeah.
I've seen a house where they actually painted the whole inside black with tar.
Oh my goodness.
The roof,
Why
the
do
ceiling, the
people do
floors.
stuff like that?
Really? Yeah.
I don't know. It just, they I guess they're taking out their aggressions and
No,
frustrations.
those are
but,
probably all foreclosures, right? Not short
foreclosures.
sales.
Yeah,
Yeah.
foreclosures.
Yeah, because those are the ones that people, that the house is being taken. Well, if you can't afford to pay for the house, what do you expect the bank to do? They just let you live
Well,
there?
it goes
rent
back
it?
to that same old day where we just, we allowed people who didn't really qualify for these mortgages
Yeah,
to get the
it's true.
mortgages, and then
Yeah, you have a
when
pulse.
as the
Here,
especially
press
on-
hard, 5 copies.
Well,
yeah.
one thing that's a misconception out there, when people buy a home, and especially if they're buying a new construction, those taxes on that property are based off of vacant land taxes.
Okay.
So when they qualify, they're qualifying on a vacant land tax. Well, lo and behold, a year from that, their taxes go up, so their escrow, instead of their escrow maybe being $100, is now $300 a month to cover taxes.
Okay.
And it just throws them right out, so that they can't afford the house anymore. I mean, they were maxed when they came in, and they're really maxed now that the taxes have gone up. So they struggle. They're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and one thing leads to another, to another, to another, to the point they just say, hey, we have to give something up here.
Unreal.
And a lot of it was those variable rates where they were coming in at 1 or 2%. Figuring, okay, I can afford $1,500.
My sister got caught up in that.
Yeah.
She just paid an interest-only loan, and
Yeah.
she got taken to the cleaners.
Yeah, I mean those products are good for certain situations and certain people, but when you're moving into a home that you're going to be there for more than 5-10 years, you got to be careful.
I just had a client that I talked to yesterday who actually has an interest-only loan that's maturing this June. And I told her, I said, don't really worry about it, because she's at 2%.
Okay.
I said, but that it's tied with the Treasury bill. And I said, it will, right now if the rates stay low, you'll still be better off to go ahead and let it mature
Okay.
than to go ahead and pay the finance cost of refinance it and have a higher interest rate. So just leave it alone for now. It'll all leverage itself out. Don't worry about it. Where you have to worry about it here is probably 2 or 3 years from now, when we don't really know what these interest rates are going to do.
Okay.
And if we know that they're going to increase,
Of course.
we do
yeah.
know that.
Now, you brought up the interest-only. What would an interest-only? Who would be a type of an individual that would want an interest-only loan?
Anybody who wants a low mortgage payment.
Okay.
That's correct.
So, but you're not paying off principal with an interest-only, right?
No.
Right.
Okay. So would that be for somebody who's maybe not going to stay in the house for a long
Right.
period
Now let
of
me
time?
tell you where I used to sell the interest-only loans when I was doing mortgages. The interest-only loans were good for the guy who was a relocation that came in and out
Okay.
of the area through his company, and his company would do an automatic buyout.
Okay.
So they really didn't care. The interest-only loan kept their loan payments down low, And whether it be one of the automotive companies or whoever he was coming in with, when I was working in the Detroit area, that company would go ahead, they would try to sell the house, and then if it didn't sell, the company would automatically pay it off. So they would buy it back, they pay the mortgage off, they take the house, the client moves on, goes to his next job, goes to the next house, next, and then we do another interest-only loan then. But for those people, it was very affordable to do, and you know, I don't know how it works today, but that's how the interest-only loans really came about, being real popular.
All right, well, you're listening to Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. That's True Radio, TREU. Now, remember, you can go to our website, TREUradio.com, TrueRadio.com, and watch this show live on the internet. Now, you'll be able to see our fantastic four, Andrew Sesta, Farouk Ali, Scott McAllister, and Carol Morgan, in the studio. You kind of watch them converse and see how we interact. But you can also go to True Radio and watch any of the shows that we've done, any archive shows, our Fidelity Funding show, our Atlantic Insurance show, the show today that we're going to have with Kimberly Perrin, who's going to be on here in just a few minutes. But all kinds of great information. You can also go and look at each of the bios of our realtors and find out maybe one who fits your personality and your style. All of their individual contact numbers are there. But if you want a direct line to be able to contact perhaps any of them, do not hesitate to call us off air at 772-882-5700. That's 882-5700. And we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have our special guest, Kimberly Perrin with Decorating Den, to help us understand, well, if we have to get one of these short sales or foreclosures, well, to perhaps save us a few bucks, what can we do to make it our dream house? You're listening to the True Radio. I'm Tom Platania, and we will be right back.
Customer service and great rates. That's what you get with Atlantic Insurance Advisors. Remember, everyone's just one torrential downpour away from a flood. And with rates as low as $129 per year, why would you not get coverage? Call 772-233-4444 or email flood@atlanticinsurance.us and save hundreds on all your insurance needs. That's 772-233-4444, 233-4444 for Atlantic Insurance Advisors. Dramatic change invites invigorating new energy. Let Decorating Den Interiors create a dramatic change in your home's decor. They'll create a look that's important to you. Begin your home's gorgeous transformation by calling Decorating Den Interiors on the Treasure Coast at 692-8589. Visit their waterfront design studios on Southeast Osceola Street, downtown Stuart, and online at stewartdecorator.com. Has a recent foreclosure, bankruptcy, or short sale spoiled your credit? Fidelity Funding may be able to help. Their hometown lenders are specially trained to work with your credit history to find the perfect loan program and get you back on track. Even if credit is no problem, Fidelity Funding offers many dynamic loan programs. Call Fidelity Funding on the Treasure Coast at 772-237-5211. They work day in and out with realtors in your community to find you the house you love. Call 237-5211 for Fidelity Funding. Are you selling your home, wondering how you're ever going to move all your belongings? Well, don't wonder. Call the trusted moving professionals from Mr. Small Move. Their staff of full-time movers are ready to take the stress out of your next move. Mr. Small Move will safely pack, move, then place and assemble your belongings at your new location. So if you're moving, call the trusted professionals at Mr. Small Move. For a free estimate, call 283-5540. That's 772-283-5540 for Mr. Small Move. Every 13 seconds, a home intrusion is committed in the United States, with property loss totals in the billions. Take action today to prevent it from happening to you with ADT, protecting homes and businesses for more than 136 years. Protect Security is your authorized ADT dealer on the Treasure Coast. Call Richard Stratman today at 772-708-2691. Protect Security and ADT, offering peace of mind security 24/7. Call today, Protect Security, 708-2691.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jensen Beach, Hope Sound, Martin County's Heritage Station.
All right, welcome back to TREU Radio, Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. I'm Tom Platania, your host, and we're with our expert, Fantastic Four group of realtors here in the studio with us, Mr. Andrew Sesta, Carol Morgan, Farouk Ali, and our anchorman, Scott McAllister.
The crowd goes wild.
All right, but we have our special guest. Without further ado, our special guest on the phone with us here at TREU Radio, Miss Kimberly Perrin. Good morning, Miss Kimberly.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kimberly.
Hey, how was lunch?
Oh, lunch was fantastic. It was so fun seeing you downtown, man. That's a happening place these days, isn't it?
Oh, was it gorgeous outside? Wasn't it nice?
Absolutely gorgeous, yes.
Oh, I had an interview with somebody that just was, I was on the phone when he walks in, and when you see somebody that you just, the minute you see him, you're just like, God, I gotta go hide in the other room. But
Oh, no.
I hope he doesn't figure out that it's me that he needs to interview with. Oh, but he was late. It was horrible. It was.
Oh boy.
But hey, lunch was great and the weather was beautiful. So.
Yes, it certainly was.
So, Kimberly, so tell us about, you got an absolutely gorgeous new location. Tell us about that.
Yes, I am in a beautiful new location in downtown Stuart, right on Osceola Street. It's 321 Southeast Osceola Street. I'm just a few steps from the hospital, right on the river, so I get to have that beautiful, inspiring river view every day.
Wow,
So
that's
when
amazing.
you're decorating ideas, they're so overwhelming, and somebody just faints because they're so beautiful. You're close to the hospital. This way, very close for medical care, right?
Exactly, yes. So if anybody keels over, we just roll them right down the street and they're in.
Oh, well, great. Well, how long ago did you get started in
I'm one of those people who's been decorating their whole lives. I
Okay.
think I was like arranging the pillows in my crib,
Okay.
and so just carried on from there. And I decorated all of my friends' rooms, and even in college, I did all the dorm rooms on my floor and everything. So I think it was just something I was born with.
Oh, unreal. Well, Kimberly, we were kind of talking a little bit about foreclosures and short sales and stuff like
Yes.
that, and I think that we're going to kind of talk a little bit about how involvement from you and stuff like that.
Sure. Well, I was listening, of course, to the show because I always tune into the show. Want to hear all the pearls of wisdom from you experts, and I appreciate first of all that since we've been working together through Keller Williams, that you guys do a great job at putting people into the homes that are right for them. So the clients that you refer me to, they're not stretched so far that they can't, even put a chair in the house or anything like that. So good job to all of you agents for doing a great job connecting people into the right homes.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Try hard.
Kimberly,
Yeah.
this is Farouk Ali. How are you today?
I'm great, Farouk. Welcome back to the warm.
Oh, thank you. I'm toying out, and these guys said they can see me perspiring here. So I don't know. This studio may be flooded by the time I'm ready to leave. However, do you do any kind of staging at all for properties that you're putting on the market that's vacant?
Actually, I do, especially for Keller Williams agents, and this is something that I give exclusively to my Keller Williams connections because we do have that great relationship, is that for empty homes, a lot of times, as you know, Farouk, it's hard for people to picture what that place will look like. But we can do what we call mood boards, mood like M-O-O-D boards.
I've seen
And
those.
yeah, so we'll actually pull together some colors and some pictures and maybe a few sample floor plans to help people visualize what that space can look like, especially like when you guys were talking about spaces where you had kitchens that were destroyed and pulled out, or that there was some damage to the house and things like that. So those kind of things can help people see past the cosmetic damages.
If you guys ever find a house where the kitchen's pulled out, please call me. I want to see this. I've never, when somebody put that on a question form, I thought it was a typo.
No, it was not. I had one of those as well.
Happens
Kimberly,
more times than not.
my other question would be, I know you're located in Stuart, so what is your demographics?
My demographics, I work with several kinds of people. A lot of my clientele that seem to be attracted to working with me are very busy working professionals. So they're, working all the time, and what I give them is the gift of time. So just like you wouldn't go out and try to find a house on your own without calling an agent, of course you would call a real estate agent, someone who knows the area, to help you find the perfect home. I give that same kind of service to my clients where they don't want to go out shopping all weekend and spend all of their free time looking at furniture and colors. And so I work with a lot of people who are just too busy to do it, whether they are still working or whether they're retired and they just want to be out enjoying the golf and out on the water and fishing and things like that. So people who just don't have enough time to do that sort of work.
Kimberly, some time ago I had gotten an artist friend of mine on a vacant home that I was staging, and he came by and put up his pictures and stuff, which also gave him the exposure. Do you do stuff like that too, by bringing in other people to assist you in staging the property?
Well, we don't do a lot of staging, as you probably know, as far as staging furniture and things like that, because you have to have a very large inventory of materials to be able to, really properly stage a home, like in a model home or things like that. But what we can do is we can do little, what we call vignettes. So we can do small staging, either with like the mood boards and things like that, or we might set up a small table and chairs, so at least there's a place for you to sit down and talk about the home and spend a little time and the energy. So that is one thing that we can offer is just a small vignette.
Good morning, Kimberly. This is Scott. How you doing?
Good, great, Scott. How are you?
Fantastic. I got a question since we're still talking about staging it. Whenever I go in to take a listing, seems to me one of the easiest, least expensive things to help stage a home is to declutter it. A lot of these clients have clutter, but I find myself nervous about how do I bring up politely to a client that they just have too much crap.
Oh, what a great question. What a great
Call
question.
Kimberly. Let her do it. That's what I do. I let them call Kimberly.
that is a fantastic. And yes, Andrew has called me with clients who just. I get to play the bad cop.
Yes,
that's what
exactly.
I say. I play the bad cop, and there, of course, you can. Gently bring it up, but what you want to stay focused on and what you want the client to stay focused on is what the end is, that they want to sell this home and move into their new home and begin that new stage of their life. So what I suggest is that people take they have actually a kind of a going away party for their things, and they can invite their friends and family over, and they can go to Home Depot and buy a bunch of the large storage bins, and they can collect all the things, and they can tell the story about the things as they're wrapping it up and putting it into the storage container.
Well,
and
that's nice.
it's not forever. It's just until this home is sold and they move to their new home. And we say that, by doing that, it gives you a chance to not feel so separated from the items that you love so much, and that they're just going away for a little while, and you're going to be able to see them again very soon.
That is a really good idea.
That is excellent. I never would have thought that.
It's a good way for them to reminisce, huh?
I just had a client that I had to ask to do that, and I told her, I said, these are the pictures. She had a house full of pictures of the family, and I said, these are your loved ones. I said, but we don't want clients to look at these pictures and be looking at the pictures and not looking at your house. So please, could you please just put your loved ones away until we move, and then we can bring them back out again. And
Absolutely.
they did, and I went in the house after they did it. What a difference. It was amazing.
Yes.
It is amazing.
It is amazing, and it really helps because I'm a big believer in energy and spaces and things like that, and when you kind of make room for the new people's energies to come into the space, then they're more excited about moving in and making it happen quickly and making a decision quickly.
Kim, I have one more question on color. So many of these houses have gotten atrocious paint colors in them. I mean, just atrocious.
No.
And not everybody can perceive paint as just being paint, and it can be covered because it sets the mood of a house when you walk in.
Yes.
What kind of a recommendation can you give us on trying to break that model when they come in, and the sheer shock that they have that they're really not looking at the house. And actually, when you go back out and you're 2 or 3 houses down the road and say, hey, what can you tell me about the house we were just at 2 houses ago? The only thing they remember is the color. They couldn't tell you.
Paint.
Yes. That new orchid paint that's so popular today.
Radiant orchid.
Yeah.
Radiant orchid. I really want you. I really want you to tell us about this radiant orchid. Orchid. Really, yeah. I was thinking about repainting my house. Is it a good idea?
Well, I think your shirt kind of matches it right now.
That's why I wore it today. I said, Kimberly would be proud of me, breaking out of my shell and wearing something radiant.
Yeah, it's a super masculine color, too. So for you fellas out there, you definitely will want to seek that out. But, Carol, that is a great question about how much color impacts our memories and it really stimulates an area of the brain. And so when you're talking to your clients, the sellers, that you can tell them that everyone perceives color differently, and the way that they react to color is different, which is why we recommend spending the money, at least on the initial room, the first room that you walk into, making that a neutral color, a creamy beige, something very unobtrusive. Now, the kids' bedrooms and things like that, you may not want to go to the expense of painting the purple under the sea bedroom, but people can kind of get past that when they go into the other rooms. But the very first impression should be that more neutral, more calming. If you have a client that you simply cannot convince that they need to make this change, that's something you need to prepare your clients for before they come in the door, and remind them, say, well, let me ask you, what's your favorite color? How do you feel about radiant orchid? If they say, oh, my God, that was in my grandmother's house, I hate that color, then you just tell them, hey, before you come in, I want you to know that this family, so picture this walls white. Try to look past that. I understand that, you kind of had a negative thought about that, but that's so easily changed. A bucket of paint is $30. It's a couple hours of work, and that radiant orchid will be gone.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed, TREU Radio, TREU. If you have any questions for any of our experts or Kimberly Perrin, give us a call here at the studio, 772-220-9788. And don't forget, if you want to find out how beautiful Mr. Andrew Sesta's colored shirt is, go to TREURadio.com, and you can actually see the video there. I actually panned in really quickly for the audience so they could see his color. I can't complain. I actually have shirts like that at home. So
you actually have that color on today too.
Yeah, I actually do. And
he's behind the scenes here, so you know.
Can't see his color.
Right.
I like to keep it that way. And we're talking with special guest Kimberly Perrin with Decorating Den.
Kim, what are your hours at the shop if somebody wanted to come by and see you?
I'm there most days unless I'm out on an appointment with clients. So I do ask that they usually give me a little call just to make sure that I'm going to be there. So I'm there most days during the week, but it's 772-692-8589, and they can give me a call and just make sure I'm there. I wouldn't want them to drive all the way down from Vero or something, and then I'm out with a client. So we do ask that they give us just a little heads up.
And do you have a website that we can check out some of your work at?
Of course. Thanks for asking. It's StewartDecorator.com. So pretty easy to remember. StewartDecorator.com.
Kim, this is Andrew. How are you?
I'm doing great, Andrew.
Just wanted to ask you a quick question. I know a lot of times I'll bring your name up, to clients when they're, buying a home, especially the foreclosures, short sales, when they can't really see past what they're seeing. Mm-hmm. And right away they like, wow, that would cost me a lot of money. And there's a misconception out there that, a decorator or interior decorator, is charging a lot of money. What kind of packages and what kind of plans do you have out there to help these people?
Well, we actually do something a little unique in the industry, is that we give our clients a flat design fee. So instead of charging an hourly rate and then billing the client for each hour and half hour and quarter hour and all that kind of thing like an attorney would do, we figure out what the scope of their whole project is, and we give them a flat fee to complete that project for them. So they know right up front exactly how much it's going to cost. And of course, every project is different. So, you know, it may just be picking out colors and a few window treatments, or it may be, you know, down to the studs and starting from scratch. So that way the clients, you know exactly what to expect. And we actually save our clients, because what we find is, as same as you guys find, if you're not using a professional, you can make a lot of mistakes, and you can spend a lot of money buying the wrong things and being very dissatisfied with the outcome, but stuck with some very expensive furniture.
And I like the flat rate. You know, a lot of the service industry, a lot of companies are going to the flat rate for that reason, because a lot of clients are like, well, it's not my fault that you didn't know what you were doing and it took you twice as long to do it.
Right.
Exactly.
Not with you though, but so they feel a lot better with a flat rate. So it's like, okay, well, whether it takes you 4 hours or 10 hours, hey, I still get the same cost.
Exactly, and they know up front. They understand what to expect. And we're very transparent with all of the costs of the materials and things like that. So, you know, we consider it a partnership with our clients. So we're there to give them the home of their dreams, because just like you guys, your business is built on referrals. So if I have an unhappy client, that does me absolutely no good.
Right, exactly.
Kimberly, this is Farouk Ali. Do you practice feng shui?
I have studied feng shui, and thank you for asking, Farouk. Just like I mentioned before about the energy in a home, feng shui is very interesting, ancient Chinese, sort of like a space planning, an ancient Chinese space planning.
Ancient Chinese secret, huh?
Yes, where they actually studied how energy flows in a home, and what things that you can do to kind of improve the way you feel in your home. And they go into much more detail with, they actually kind of section off different areas of rooms and homes. So this is your money area, this is your career area, this is your family area. So it's a very interesting study. And when you kind of dig a little bit deeper, it really, a lot of it rings very true. So whenever possible, I do use a lot of those concepts in my design.
And how do you pronounce that again?
It's feng shui, but it's actually spelled F-E-N-G.
Oh.
So it's a very interesting ancient form of knowledge.
Well, I'm impressed that both of you know that.
I have had customers who actually wanted to build their homes in certain directions.
Yes.
Right.
Sure, yes.
True.
And
Yes.
I've even had to show properties to people specifically asking for whether it's a condo or a house. They want to know what direction the front door
Yes.
faces.
Yes, so
Yes.
nice.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've experienced
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I've had customers also that send them a property and say, "Wow, this looks really good," and they look at the address number and they say, "No, that doesn't work for me."
That's correct.
Yeah.
Numbers.
The numbers.
Yeah.
I said, "What? Really?"
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the combination of numbers mean different things.
Yeah, I
and-
just had a guy recently too.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
actually
wow.
from
Yeah.
the Far East.
Yes.
And,
It doesn't matter if it's a
He was
great
looking at
deal
the
or what.
numbers.
Yeah, they look at
Wow.
the numbers and say, "No, this means this," or "I'm looking for prosperity. This is."
yeah, exactly.
I had one that had a house across the street, and the door was red. And she said, "Oh no, I can't do that."
Oh my God.
888 is that for some reason in like Asian numerology, the 8s are lucky and 3 8s are apparently super lucky, because
Yeah.
I got so many offers on a property in Boca that we had years ago. It was just 888 like Osceola Street.
I should use that in my pricing strategy. $399,888.
There you go.
Wow.
You learn something new every day.
That's a new marketing strategy for us today.
Yes. That's great.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll still have Kimberly on the line with us to help answer any questions you folks have. 772-220-9788. 220-9788. If you have any questions, you're listening to TREU Radio. We'll be right back.
Customer service and great rates. That's what you get with Atlantic Insurance Advisors. Remember, everyone's just one torrential downpour away from a flood. And And with rates as low as $129 per year, why would you not get coverage? Call 772-233-4444 or email flood@atlanticinsurance.us and save hundreds on all your insurance needs. That's 772-233-4444, 233-4444 for Atlantic Insurance Advisors. Are you selling your home, wondering how you're ever going to move all your belongings? Well, don't wonder. Call the trusted moving professionals from Mr. Small Move. Their staff of full-time movers are ready to take the stress out of your next move. Mr. Small Move will safely pack, move, then place and assemble your belongings at your new location. So if you're moving, call the trusted professionals at Mr. Small Move. For a free estimate, call 283-5540. That's 772-283-5540 for Mr. Small Move. Every 13 seconds, a home intrusion is committed in the United States, with property loss totals in the billions. Take action today to prevent it from happening to you with ADT, protecting homes and businesses for more than 136 years. Protect Security is your authorized ADT dealer on the Treasure Coast. Call Richard Stratman today at 772-708-2691. Protect Security and ADT, offering peace of mind security 24/7. Call today, Protect Security, 708-2691. Dramatic change invites invigorating new energy. Let Decorating Den Interiors create a dramatic change in your home's decor. They'll create a look that's important to you. Begin your home's gorgeous transformation by calling Decorating Den Interiors on the Treasure Coast at 692-8589. Visit their waterfront design studios on Southeast Osceola Street, downtown Stuart, and online at stewartdecorator.com. Has a recent foreclosure, bankruptcy, or short sale spoiled your credit? Fidelity Funding may be able to help. Their hometown lenders are specially trained to work with your credit history to find the perfect loan program and get you back on track. Even if credit is no problem, Fidelity Funding offers many dynamic loan programs. Call Fidelity Funding on the Treasure Coast at 772-237-5211. They work day in and out with realtors in your community to find you the house you love. Call 237-5211 for Fidelity Funding.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jupiter, and Indiantown, Martin County's Heritage Station.
All right, welcome back to True Radio, Treasure Coast, Real Estate Unleashed. And today we've been talking about foreclosures and short sales, and we have our special guest on line with us, Ms. Kimberly Perrin with Decorating Den. And just absolutely wonderful. I mean, some of these thoughts and ideas that you guys are coming up with, it just, you know, I sit back and think to myself, you know, if anybody ever wanted to learn about the real estate business, what better way than to pretend that you know what you're doing and become a radio host? And have four of the best, the smartest
That's
minds.
his motivation. Okay.
So,
Very sneaky.
Since we didn't sign any, non-compete clauses or anything like that, so now after about a year, I'll take all of your information and I'll take it and I'll go up and be just as successful.
There you go.
You know, it's interesting you bring that up because to me, even though I had experience in real estate growing up and all that, I'm new into this market and, you know, coming down last year, and there's so much to learn and so much has changed. I didn't live through the whole 2006 to 2010 crash. So I didn't know about all these short sales and all.
You just didn't work.
Well, right. I didn't work down here. I was up in Chicago, and we didn't get hit nearly as bad in Chicago with the economic recession being a really big city. But what I've found, especially we're all just talking about how we're in a group here discussing ideas and discussing thoughts, talking with Kimberly. Our office is like that, and that's one thing that's awesome about that I was really happy about joining Keller Williams is I can walk out of my office, and if I have a question about something I don't know, I knock on Carol's door, I knock on Farouk's door, I knock on Andrew's door. I can go to Kimberly, I can go to Nathan or, you know, someone at Fidelity. There are so many people in our office, and they're just all willing to share. We're not competing.
Exactly.
We're all
Some of the other places are very competitive.
Oh my
and
God,
it's like you're in your cubicle, and whatever you can learn or know in that cubicle, don't go outside it.
Right.
Oh, I hear horror stories from other.
the education that I have learned in the 6 months that I've been over there. It's just amazing. I really feel like it's a great tool and a lot of value to me. And then I'm passing that on to my clients.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
exactly.
You know, it's interesting because last night I had family members in from Canada, and we're sitting there, and my cousin Rick says to me, he said, "Carol, what time do you go to work in the morning?" "Well, what time do you go to work?" And I said, "Early morning." I said, "Really, my day starts at about 6 o'clock in the morning when I'm already checking my email and going through my messages and my text messages." He says, "No, really, what time do you go to work?" I said, "Well, really, I start that time." And I said, "I'm headed to the office by 9 o'clock in the morning." "Really?" He said, "Real estate agents aren't supposed to start work until the afternoon because you know what, they work part of a day and then they go home." And I said, "Well, I'll tell you, Rick,
Not if you
need
want to be
not
successful.
if you want to be
Yeah,
successful
big
in this business."
misconception.
I said, "That's a terrible misconception. We work a lot of hours, and I don't know of a successful agent that works probably less than 60 hours a week. And at least that's a minimum."
Well, if you have any questions for any of our panel here, ladies and gentlemen, or Kimberly Perrin, who's our special guest, give us a call here at the studio, 772-220-9788, and we can ask us some questions. You know, I actually do have one question. You know, when we're buying, Kimberly, when somebody's going out to perhaps look at a short sale, foreclosure, whatnot, obviously they're trying to do that in order to maybe find a little bit more of a home for, at least that they think that they're going to find a little bit more of a home for a better bargain. What would you say one thing that they could do, or that you could do, that would help them to immediately make a huge impact on that home to make it feel more like their dream home?
Wow, that's a loaded question, because it really depends on the home and the family. Like
Right.
I'm a strong believer in that the home really has to be functional for you,
Right.
and that hopefully, based on the great support that they're getting from their Keller Williams agents, that they're selecting a home based on it's the best location for them, and that it's the best home for them. It serves all of their needs. And if it happens to be a short sale or foreclosure, that's just sort of a, oh, by the way, because that, to me, is a much more complicated process that it's really worth. But one of the quickest things that you can do is always with the paint colors, because,
Okay.
it's so
Radiant
inexpensive.
orchid.
Yeah.
And Kimberly, I got to tell you the joke about that. We're all sitting around the table yesterday, and we're hashing about the show, and what can we do to make it better, and
Yes.
we're looking at your questions, and we all look at each other, and we're like, okay, who's going to be the one to ask the Radiant Orchid question?
I was hoping it was going to be Scott.
I thought it was the name of a new J-pop band. I was like, who's Radiant Orchid?
I tell you, this is Andrew. That's a good point. I've seen a fresh coat of paint just does it does wonders, and I do a lot of listings. My team, I'm the listing agent. I do most of the listings, and when I go in and talk to these sellers, and they say, "What can we do to to get this home top dollar?" Fresh coat of paint, and get rid of some of the dark colors and some of the stuff, make it neutral, and declutter and all that. But paint is one of those relatively inexpensive fixes. A lot of people can kind of do it themselves if they had to. So speaking of paint colors, let us know, what's the trendy colors of 2014
Besides orchid.
besides
Radiant
the
Orchid. Yeah, and Radiant Orchid, the joke there for our listeners that aren't aware is the Pantone color of the year. And so what that,
Pantone.
yes, Pantone, they kind of make a lot of the colors that are used in many, many products. So it's fashion, it's furniture, it's even things like print. So it's even in print ads and things like that. So that color will be a challenge to use in a design, because it is a very vibrant kind of purpley, pinky color. But I'm a big fan of Benjamin Moore. They're one of my favorites. They have beautiful color stories. They're one of my favorite paints. And their color story for 2014 is actually a really beautiful pastel line. It's very pale blues, greens, yellows, very natural colors, so things that are, kind of like what we see outside in our beautiful Florida environment, that beautiful. Their color of the year is actually a very beautiful blue called Breath of Fresh Air.
I've seen that, yes. I was in Benjamin Moore and bought paint the other day. I've seen that.
Sounds like
Beautiful.
colors are becoming a thing. Well, we just got about a minute or so left on the show, Kimberly, and I want to tell you, it's been absolutely wonderful having you on the show, and we
Yes,
look
thank you
forward
so
to
much.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Partnering
Thank you for
with
your
you.
info.
Guys,
Appreciate it.
thank you
And
so
what's your
much
phone
for
number one
having
more
me.
time, real quick, Kimberly?
772-692-8589.
Beautiful. All right. Kimberly Perrin with Decorating Den. Give her a call or give one of our agents a call here if you want to perhaps list your house and well, make it look as beautiful as you possibly can. You can contact them off the air at 772-882-5700. And thank you, Kimberly. But hey, guys, another great show.
Oh,
Yes,
thank you.
thank you.
Tom.
Another
Thank
great
you.
show. And
Welcome back,
And-
Farouk.
Oh, thank you.
Andrew
Yeah.
Sesta,
Kimberly
Scott
made it fun.
McAllister, Farouk Ali, Carol Morgan. And as always, we're going to end the show with a Zig Ziglar quote. You cannot tailor-make your situation in life, but you can tailor-make your attitudes to those situations.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you back here next Thursday on Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed.